so here we are for part 2, and this time we're going to work on the skin tone and contrast, and to do that we're going to add 3 adjustment layers. So we're going to come over to the right hand side of our screen where we have the adjustment layers available to us, and we're going to click on Channel Mixer. We're going to put a tick where it says monochrome, and then if we look into the layers panel we have the Channel Mixer adjustment layer, and we're going to reduce the opacity of that to around about 40%. So if I zoom out, we can see the effect that's had so far. So if I turn that layer on and off, we can see the effect that's having on the skin tone. Okay, the next thing we're going to do, add another Channel Mixer adjustment layer. Again, we're going to click in monochrome, but this time we're going to come over to the layers panel and we're going to change the blend mode of that layer to screen. And what that's going to do is going to brighten up the picture. If I zoom out, I'll be able to show you by turning that layer on and off, we can see that the picture has been brightened up quite considerably. Okay, clearly that's too much at the moment, so we can come over and reduce the opacity of that layer, and I'm going to go for the moment around about the 40% mark. And again, we can adjust these later on to get the desired effect that we're after. The third stage in this, again, is another Channel Mixer adjustment layer, clicking in monochrome, and this time we're going to change the blend mode of that layer to soft light, and that's going to add some contrast to this picture. We can see maybe that's a little bit too much. That's at 100%, and if we turn the layer off we can see no contrast. So we're going to go for somewhere in between, and I'm going to probably end up around about the 35% mark. Okay, so that's before and after, so contrast has been added as well. The next thing we're going to do is come over to the layers panel, and I'm going to rename these layers. The layer we've just done called soft light, I'm going to rename that to contrast. And then the layer we changed to the screen blend mode, I'm going to change, nice and simple, to screen. So what we can do now is come into these individual layers and adjust them to taste. So let's say we want the screen layer, if we wanted the picture a little bit brighter, we would click on the screen adjustment layer there and just increase the opacity or decrease it depending on how we want the picture to look. So I'm going to probably stick with that around about the 45% mark, something like that. The next thing I want to do, I'm going to click just once on the very top adjustment layer, hold down my shift key and click on the very first adjustment layer. I'm then going to come over to the top of my screen, choose Layer, New, Group from Layers, and in this little dialog box I'm going to call that Skin. So what's happened is, over in the Layers panel now, all those 3 adjustment layers have been put into the one group here. So what I can do is adjust the opacity of all of those at one go by using the slider. So I'm going to probably go for around about 85%, something around that region there I'm quite happy with. So we can see that with this stage now we've added some skin tone and contrast, but what that's actually done, it's actually affected the colour of the eyes as well, clearly because we've changed a few blend modes. So all I'm going to do is add a layer mask to that group. I'm going to change then my brush, change to a brush, and I'm going to paint in black over the eyes to bring back the enhancement that we did in part 1. So with the brush at 100%, my foreground set to black, I'm then going to paint through that white mask to reveal the colour that we did in part 1. So there we go. If we just zoom out, whoops a daisy, there we go. Zoom out to that stage there. Just take a quick snapshot to show you what we've done in this particular stage. So that was before and that's after. Before and after. So now we've added some tone and contrast to the skin. In part 3 I'm going to show you how we do some realistic smoothing using, of all things, the vivid light blend mode and the high pass filter. So I shall see you in part 3.